Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Theorists. Now, since the latest episode of Doctor Who, 73 Yards, came out, there's been a lot of confusion across social media about exactly what happened. Now, I'm here to pick through it, explain what happens and how it fits in with my current running theory of the season of Doctor Who. So let's get into it. Now, my theory is about the power of Ruby Sunday. This includes the appearing snow that seems to bleed through from the memory of the church on Ruby Road. This appears in both the Space Babies episode and in Boom when she nearly dies. And this power is also mentioned by Maestro in The Devil's Court. And also the changing of the memory experienced by the Doctor in Space Babies, though that may not be directly Ruby's doing, but maybe the eldest of the Pantheon, which, as Maestro said, was there at the Church of Ruby Road. This episode seems to be all about Ruby's power to manipulate the timeline, or manipulate reality in some form or another, but the timeline in this particular case is, in this particular case, wanting to prevent nuclear war. Now, even UNIT was aware of that, with Kate saying to her that I think this timeline might be suspended along your event. The Doctor disappears right at the beginning of this episode. That's probably due to the fact that Ruby manipulating the timeline but not directly being able to bring the Doctor along into this split or splinter timeline, as the Doctor would describe himself in Boom episode, that he is a complex quantum event, probably a bit too much for Ruby to have handled at this point. Now, the old woman in this episode, I believe, was Ruby all from the start, because even after being asked what if you went on a plane by Kate, that Ruby replies with, I daren't. I feel like I may die, that she may die. To me, that just means that they're effectively the same person. If one dies, they both die, or they at least would experience that in some fashion or another. Now, whenever the old woman speaks to someone and people run away, it's purely because it's Ruby manipulating events on the timeline. Now, they're just Ruby making them do something, so whenever they're queried or asked about why they've done what they've done, it's purely because they don't know why they've done it. It's purely what they've been commanded to do. They can't answer, they can't possibly answer because they don't know. The whole timeline only splits off after the Doctor has informed Ruby of Roger Williams and even told her the year in which it happened. This could well have been Ruby accidentally causing the event simply by believing it to be true and therefore making it true. The same goes for that circle that the Doctor broke. He only ever referred to it at the beginning of the episode as a circle, not a fairy circle. Only after Ruby was told about it being a fairy circle by the Cymry, or the Welsh, in the local pub. They were most likely joking to Ruby, just egging her on, but Ruby believed it to be true, and that was the important part. That when they actually come back to that original scene at the end, it was changed purely based on Ruby's experiences, and only now does the Doctor refer to it as a fairy circle which holds power. Now, as for it snowing in this particular episode, it's happened twice. Now, first time was initially after the timeline split and Ruby was walking away from the TARDIS. It just gradually, just faintly begins to snow. And then it happens again after Ruby was locked out of her mother's flat and effectively being disowned by her mother. And only later in the episode, when Ruby's in the hospital as an older lady, she states that I used to be able to make it snow, acknowledging the fact that she had the power to make that happen, to change reality in that particular way, even though minor. She realised she had that power. Now I believe at that point, her realising she had that power is when she travels back to change the events. Because when she does that, she says, "I'm so sorry it's taken me this long." Effectively apologising to herself for putting her through more than she really had to. And for me, that was a great episode, which makes sense given the little bit of knowledge of Ruby's hidden power within. And I hope this has gone some way to explain this for you all as well. And I'd love to know your thoughts. Just drop me a comment down below. But it also begs the question then, is Ruby a child of the Pantheon? And will the season see her coming into these powers? Give us a like and subscribe and we'll discover all this together. Take care.